Ladies and gentlemen, creating a democratic voicing platform across the world, we've got with us the Managing Director, Southeast Asia, India, and Middle East, Twitter. Please welcome Parminder Singh, also known as Parry Singh.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure and honor to be here. Thanks, IAA, Sundar, and the entire team for inviting me. It's great coming to Kochi after about 8 years. It's fantastic. So, house rules first, before we start, just house rules. And I'm just going to pick on one house rule. The only house rule in this session is, please take out your mobile phones, look at the blue bird on the mobile phones, switch it on, and tweet. Tweet yourself to glory. The hashtag for the event is hashtag IAA Silver Summit. In case you run out of characters. Okay, so I've saved you 6 characters out of 140. Hashtag IAA Summit. Great, you can even tweet more now. So that's the only house rule. So I've got a very exciting job. Another session on disruption, second session after lunch. How exciting, isn't it? All right, so we'll try to make it very exciting. Now, this is a dangerous phase. It's about 3:30. You know, the angle between the back and the backrest is almost 45 degrees like this now, right? We'll go slide, a nice dim atmosphere. I think before digital disruption, I need to talk about sleep disruption. How do I disrupt your sleep? So what's different? What should I talk about? And what should I say which is different from what you've already not heard about? Here's what I want to focus on today. You know, sometimes when we listen to a theory, a concept, an idea again and again, we develop a blind spot towards it. I think we are reaching a stage where we might be developing a disruption blind spot. It's a word, you know, it's like that annoying banner which is there on the top corner of your screen, which is there forever, and after a while you even stop noticing that banner. Maybe, just maybe disruption is reaching that stage. And it's important to understand that disruption is real, relevant, and coming very rapidly in your industry. We could all be led to believe that disruption doesn't happen in our industry. Oh, it happens in the car industry. Oh, it happens to the hotel guys, not to us. Oh, it'll happen, yeah, I know disruption is happening, but it'll probably happen in the future. You know, all those 2020 stats that we hear of, 2030, the number of devices will be this many. 2020, internet will reach that stage, then disruption, yeah, I've got some time, right? That's what we feel. That's not true. Disruption is real, it's relevant, and it's happening rapidly than we think it is, because disruption increases exponentially. Our human brain is tuned to think linearly. When you think in terms of growth, 10%, 20%, 100%. But disruption increases exponentially, because that's how technology advances. So what I'm going to share with you is 2 things. If there are 2 things I want to leave you with today, is this. 1, it's real, and we'll look at some real-life examples of how industries close to us, industries that we all represent, are being disrupted. That's 1. Number 2, when you go back to the offices and to the businesses and the brands that you are working on, I'll give you 3 lenses, 3 disruption superchargers that you need to evaluate and look at your business from and see if any of these 3 are impacting your business or not. Because if they are not impacting your business, somebody else will use those disruption superchargers and have an impact on your business. So that's what we'll do today. All right? So before I do that, let me start with a personal story. Let me take you back 1 year, almost 1 year. This was the 6th of September, 2014. I remember it was a Saturday evening. I just got back home. I was in Singapore. I had a nice Vietnamese dinner. I still remember that. And I got this message on my Twitter DM. Somebody said, "Hi, Parry. Anyone in Twitter coordinating flood relief in Kashmir? I've got some volunteers on the ground and need some help." If you remember, last year there were these unprecedented floods in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Thousands of people were stranded. And somebody sent me a message. He's a friend. I have no background in disaster relief. So, you know, he probably just sent it to me because I work for Twitter, and he thought maybe I could play a role. So I absolutely had no background. But I said, all right, let's, you know, my wife happens to be from Kashmir, and she'd already been hearing stories about her friends and acquaintances being stranded over there. And Twitter, by that time, was full of streams, full of tweets about Kashmir flood. So I started using my brand hat on, and I said, okay, what can we do for this? And we saw this, you know, whole lot of tweets about Kashmir. The cell phone network was down. The relatives of people who were stranded were tweeting about it, but we didn't know what to do next. So the first thing I did was just come up with a hashtag, simple, just like brands we do. We came up with a hashtag Kashmir Flood Relief, because it was important to channelize and direct the efforts in one direction. And all of a sudden, this tweet became viral, and Kashmir Flood Relief, the efforts became channelized in one direction. All rescue-related tweets started using these hashtags. And this happened within 24 hours. Within 36 hours, somebody, another colleague of mine, had created a website, jkfloodrelief.org. We had a handle, jkfloodrelief. And then we saw people just rallying around this handle, Twitter handle. And there were about 8 of us who just got together, people who are regularly holding our day jobs, didn't have any background in disaster relief. And all of a sudden, people, NGOs, started looking at us to direct relief inquiries for them. We started getting rescue-related tweets, save me, help me, and so on. And this got a lot of traction. And pretty soon we realized there's a community of thousands of people wanting to help, wanting to do something about this, just rallying around this action, all digitally. And then this started happening. If you can read the tweet on top, it says, 1-year-old child needs ventilator support, is stuck in Bhagat and has to get to SKIMS. SKIMS is the SK Institute of Medical Sciences. And then the same day, a rescue is done and a chopper is sent to lift that baby to that hospital, the same day. It's the same day. I got a call from someone in the US. Thank you. Thank you. I got a call from someone in the US, and this lady said, my mother is stuck. I asked her, can you tell us where she stays? She sent me a picture of the house. It's called Shiv Nivas. It's a big, iconic house. We tweeted this, and by the evening, the tweet was picked up by a rescue agency working in Kashmir, and Mrs. Dulari Bhan, who's a diabetic, was rescued from this house. And this started getting currency. The Indian Army started using this hashtag and started looking at JK Flood Relief to get rescue leads. And within 10 days, this is what had happened. 12,000 rescue leads. 12,000 leads, 30 corporate partners, hundreds of tons of relief material. So what am I getting at? This has nothing to do with branding, but all I wanted, and I didn't want to talk about disaster relief. If you are more interested in understanding what was done and how this was done, there's a full presentation we uploaded on, it's there on SlideShare. Just type Kashmir Flood Relief, you'll find the presentation. But the point is this. 8 of us who didn't have any background in disaster relief had 3 things helping us. And I'm going to talk about those 3 things. These are 3 digital disruptive superchargers. 3 things, because of which this entire community got galvanized into action, because of which we could channelize public goodwill into positive action, because of 3 digital forces. And these digital forces are there for all of us. We were just a bunch of individuals, and we just did this over a few days. But these forces are there for all of us. And how can we, as businesses, as brands, use the same forces to have an impact as mammoth as this? And those are the 3 digital superchargers I want to talk about today. So let's start with the first one, algorithms. Think about a hashtag. What is a hashtag? When you go to Twitter or anywhere, you type a hashtag, what's happening is a very powerful algorithm is at play in the background. We don't see it because it's intuitive, it's natural. But what that algorithm is doing is, out of the thousands of tweets on Kashmir floods, is taking that very set of tweets that are focused on relief efforts and bringing this to you in a very concise, crystallized form. It's a very powerful algorithm that's working at the back. And algorithms are changing things in very dramatic way across all businesses as well. How are they changing things? Let's take an example. Let me talk about the Argentinian car wash industry. 2 years back, in 2013, a guy called Santiago observed that the car wash industry was witnessing 50% decline in its sales. 50%. there was no reason why this was happening. The cars were being sold as much as they used to earlier. People in Argentina love to keep their cars spick and span and squeaky clean. There was no clampdown on water use by the government. So what was happening here? What happened was this. Over the last few years, thanks to the power of algorithms, and because of higher data analytics crunching abilities, our weather prediction has improved by 100%. Now, because weather prediction has improved by 100%, people understand better whether it's going to rain or not. And if they know that it's going to rain, they don't go to the car wash. This, guys, is lateral disruption. When an algorithm is not impacting your industry per se in a very obvious manner, but it's impacting a different industry, which has a profound impact on your industry. Weather prediction algorithms become better, and this industry gets impacted. It's important for us to understand our industry is getting impacted. Is an algorithm impacting our industry in an indirect or a not so direct manner? Let's take another example, a more obvious industry. Has everyone heard of cabbage? When I took this screenshot, it was 3:58 p.m., I think, and if you see the time over there, it says 4:02 p.m. This is a company that disburses loans to SMBs in a matter of minutes. You go there, go to the website, apply for a loan. After the click, the counter starts ticking, and it tells you, if you see the line at the bottom, it says, have $2,000 to $100,000 in your account by 4:02 p.m. The core insight over here is this. There are two. Number one, they realize that our online footprint is more than an offline footprint. There's nothing a surveyor can find out by visiting an office that he cannot already get online. We have more information online than offline. The second is we now have algorithms and the number crunching power to take all the information available about you online and within 4 to 5 minutes have a very clear understanding of who you are, what's your credit worthiness, and this is the amount of loan you're worthy of. And it's happening within a matter of minutes. This is right here, right now, happening now, and it's going to impact financial services industries in a big way. People today talk about tweets and how tweets impact data analytics. And sometimes we think a tweet is just a 140 characters, right? So how much data can a tweet store? We see our clients using analytics on tweets in very interesting way and drawing meaningful insights about their products, about their customers. A tweet could be 140 characters, but it has 65 data elements. Your location, your bio, your profile name, the client you're using, 65 data elements. And if you put it all together, you can draw some very meaningful insights about your market, your product, or your customers. Like this company, an over-the-counter cough syrup company. It's been operating for 45 years with the same formula, and all of a sudden it realized that people are using the word dizziness from the tweets with respect to their product, which gave them an insight that probably a certain section of people are feeling dizzy after taking their product. And they immediately made changes to the product. Otherwise, they would have incurred high legal costs. Or this mobile company, T-Mobile, who are facing huge customer churn issues. And they didn't know why. They didn't know what was happening. So they started analyzing the tweets of their customers. And just before they got to a point where they knew, based on the language of tweets, when a customer is going to churn. And just before when he would be churning, they would send out subscription packs to him. This reduced churn by 50% within 90 days. Great use of algorithms. Companies are already using it. This is happening now in industries, in services that are relevant and that are surrounding us. As they say, we are entering an age of algorithms are us. So that's the first disruptive supercharge algorithms. The second is communities. Now go back to the floods example. The biggest thing over there was the collective force of thousands and thousands of people who just got onto the action, who just wanted to do something. They had some spare time. They had their day jobs. They didn't leave their jobs, but they just wanted to contribute either in terms of money or in terms of rescue leads or relief supplies. They were all there. It's called cognitive surplus. And the interesting thing was, none of those were part of an organization. The reason we don't use communities right now is because we are attuned to think in terms of owning people, owning our headcount, having people employed. But the fact is this: there are lots and lots of people out there who would be willing to work for you, for your project, for a cause, if we were able to figure this one thing, that non-ownership is the key to owning the future. Remember, the smartest people will always work outside of your company. They will never be within the company. It's important for businesses to understand how to employ those people. Clay Shirky calls this cognitive surplus. It's a term given to the fact that there are several people out there who have some spare time on their hand. They have cognitive abilities. And if you provide the right system and the right framework, they would be willing to work for you for a small amount of time. Now, you might ask, how many such people are there? How much cognitive surplus is out there? It turns out there is 1 trillion hours of cognitive surplus available in the world today. 1 trillion hours. Now, this is when we have 2 billion, close to about 2 billion devices online. In 5 years, the number of devices online would be 6 billion. Imagine the kind of cognitive surplus. Most of these people would not join traditional workforces. If you look at the history of employment, the last 20 to 30 years, large companies have not added any net manpower. Most of the manpower has been added by small companies and startups. Most of these people would be having a company on their own. They'll be their own marketing people, sales people, finance people, and so on. It's important for companies to understand how to leverage this cognitive surplus. And if you look around you, we've seen examples of Uber and so on. These are companies that are using this cognitive surplus. Let me give you a personal example again. A few weekends back, I was dragged by my 13-year-old son to a place called Funan Center in Singapore. Some of you might know Funan Center. It's known for electronics. If you want the latest video game, you go to Funan Center in Singapore. So he wanted this game called Project Cars. So I got this game for him. We went there together. And then when we were coming back, I just asked him, so what's so special about this game? Are the graphics really good? What's special? What he told me just blew me away. He said, oh, this CARS stands for Community Assisted Racing Simulator. I said, what do you mean? He said, this is the best, hottest racing game in the market today, but it's not being developed by any traditional game publisher. It's being developed by a community. So a big community has different modules. They've all pooled resources together to develop this game, and it's in a stage of perpetual development, which means when somebody is playing this game and they have a suggestion on a particular module, they can always give an improvement online. So cognitive surplus is not just happening for fields like transportation, where you're being driven around by people who have some spare time. This is a fairly higher order of cognitive skill which people are using for developing a game. The hottest game today is based on this. Now, in the world of advertising and marketing, the concept of communities is also being used in very interesting ways. Brands are using this concept to create messaging communities. And one of the examples over here is what Dove did. Our friends from Unilever are here somewhere, so all credit to you. They had a core insight. I don't know if you've heard of this campaign called Speak Beautiful. It's a great campaign. The insight was that every year, people talk negatively about their bodies, right, in the US. People just have this feeling of not being good enough, and they tweet about it. Almost 55 million tweets in a year. And Dove took this mission of getting people to talk about themselves in a positive way. The campaign was called Speak Beautiful, hashtag Speak Beautiful. But I thought the two things they did was very interesting, and we'll see the campaign. Number one, they chose a particular moment to engage with their community, which is Oscars. They realized that during the Oscars, when people are watching all these stars on the red carpet, they really feel inadequate about themselves. And that's when they say, oh, I wish I had hair like that. I wish I had a figure like that, and so on. That's when the negativity is at its peak. So they targeted people during Oscars with message for speaking beautiful. And pretty soon, a community around this started forming. So let's look at the ad first, and then we'll see how the community formed. Thank you. The impact was this. Look at this tweet, a negative tweet, right? I don't smile in pics because I hate my teeth. Now, here's how messaging communities get formed. Dove tweeted back and said, that's just one small part of you. There's much more that makes you special. Somebody else tweeted, Liz O'Neill agreed, smile with your whole heart and soul. You are so beautiful, Paige. Somebody else tweeted, I don't know you, but it's what's on the inside that counts. The community of messaging is being formed around a particular emotion, a particular spirit. And it's happening because of this. If you build communities and do things in public, people find you. You don't have to go and find them. People come to you. When we set out to do Kashmir flood relief, the biggest thing we had going was it was being done in public. Every time a life was saved, we would put it out there. Every time a corporate partner said, I want to send your material to Kashmir, and I'll do it free of cost, we put it out there. When you're doing things in public, people find you. Our estimate is about thousands of people would have just jumped in and done that one little extra bit. But that's enough, because there are thousands of people over here. There is 1 trillion hours of cognitive surplus. That's the power of communities. So we've looked at algorithms. We've looked at communities. The third digital supercharger is engagement, real-time engagement. People want to do things now. The biggest thing out of the entire flood relief example was the fact that we were doing things now. People were saying, I want help now. We were tweeting it out and saying, help these people now. And a rescue agency said, I'm going there now, the concept of now. It's super important. To explain this concept, let me take the help of something totally different. Let me talk about football. Let me take you back last year to the World Cup, a match between Brazil and Chile. He's Neymar, and he's scoring a goal. It's a famous, for those of you into soccer, you might remember, famous penalty shootout. Notice a trend line here. As the video progresses, there's a trend line. That's a trend line of the tweets during the match. Let's look at the video, and then we'll talk about it.
It had to be Neymar. Neymar scores. He has nerves of steel.
Julio Cesar now will want to be the hero.
Off the post. Brazil win in the most dramatic of circumstances.
So what's happening here? People are tweeting right at that very moment. They're not waiting for the action to be over and then go to Twitter. People want to tweet right in the moment. They don't wait. Gone are those days when you'll experience something great, then you'll go back home, and then you'll talk about it and post an update. You do it right now. Online, is not a filler for offline inaction. It's happening with the offline action. And this is just one moment, World Cup. It happens on a daily basis. How many of you, well, the first thing you do when you wake up is go to your mobile phones? Show of hands, please. Most of you, right? So research says that 80% of us actually pick up our mobile phones when we wake up in the morning. Not only do we pick up our mobile phones, but we tweet about the sunrise, for some of us who go out there and see the sunrise. Now, these are tweets as the sun progresses, during the day or across the globe, which have the word sunrise in it. So we've geotagged all tweets that have the word sunrise in it, and let's see how it goes as the sun goes across the globe. Tweets with sunrise geotagged in different languages. People wake up, they talk about the sunrise. People wake up, they talk about the sunrise on a daily basis, every day. The online action is happening at the same time as the offline action. So we've looked at World Cup, sunrise. Let's look at something else. We've talked a lot about it today, food. This is how India tweets about food. Every week. Notice the peaks. Monday, lunch, we are really hungry. You're probably bored. Monday morning blues. Wednesday, breakfast is very important for us. Look at that peak. It goes down. Then Saturday dinner, we love our Saturday dinners. We love to talk about our food Saturday dinners. Look at those peaks. This happens every week, every day. The food here, of course, was so good. I think we'll see a peak for Thursday and Friday dinners this time. It'll be an aberration this time. People are talking about their offline experience right when that experience is happening. They don't wait. And it's important to understand this. Your offline stimulus results in an emotional fulfillment through online conversations. It's an emotional fulfillment loop. You experience something offline, you do an online conversation, and it's an emotional fulfillment happens, and it feeds itself. It's the emotional fulfillment loop. Now, if you're a business, you probably will feel left out. Where am I? What do I do? My consumers are having the stimulus, they are going online, and they're having a loop. How do I fit in? This is how you fit in. It's important for your business to be part of this loop. When people are talking about their offline experience, it's important for you to be a part of. And if you can become the online conversation, which is part of their experience, that's even better. When they see something, when they watch a movie, they like the food, or they watch a match, you be the conversation. Be right there in that moment. It's important. It's important today to be part of an emotional fulfillment loop. Otherwise, you'll be left out. Because people are so busy looking at their mobile devices, they have no space for your billboard. They have no space of the ad which is away from their eyes and their mobile devices. You have to be part of that loop. And our research shows that people today have an attention span of 8 seconds, which is the same as a goldfish. 8 seconds is all that you have to be there, to be right in front and center of the mindscape. And there are brands that are doing it. Now, anybody remembers the dress? Remember the dress? Yeah, blue, right? Blue, black, white and gold, and so on. So let's look at the phenomenon of the dress. And all it happened in a matter of a few minutes. It all started with this lady's post on Tumblr. 21-year-old girl from UK, Caitlin McNeil, talked about the dress and said, I can't figure out whether it's blue and black or white and gold. It was on Tumblr. Somebody took that post and put it up on Twitter. And then a couple of very influential celebrities picked up that tweet. Some of them were Ellen DeGeneres, Kim Kardashian, Taylor Swift, with some pretty serious following on Twitter. They picked it up. And then all of a sudden, a phenomenon happened, right? People started talking, and they all had millions of followers. And this is the kind of impressions we started seeing across this. 18 million impressions on and off Twitter. When Taylor Swift tweeted, 45 million. When Kim Kardashian tweeted about it, 20 million impressions on and off Twitter. It just became this huge thing. And globally, 2 communities got formed. Team blue and black, team white and gold. And these are the tweets and how they progressed for blue and black and white and gold across the globe. Communities automatically got formed globally within a matter of a few minutes. Emotional fulfillment loop. And these brands did a great job of being part of the emotional fulfillment loop. They knew when a phenomenon is happening. People are engaging in a conversation, and they wanted to be part of that conversation. I love this one by Snapple. If you've seen Snapple, they have these bottles, and under the bottle, they have a fact. And they put the fact over there. The dress is blue and black. McDonald's said, no confusion here. We are pretty sure this one's white and gold. What the brands are doing is this. They understand there's an online conversation. People are having an emotional fulfillment thanks to the online conversation. And they are part of that loop. Businesses don't just have target markets. They have target moments. It's important for us to understand as businesses, as brands, what are the target moments relevant to us? Which are the target moments that are relevant to the ethos of our brand and can place us right in the front and center of that emotional fulfillment loop. Thank you.